We're at 144 South Parrish Place in Burbank, California, performing a video sewer inspection through the 4-inch mainline cleanout in the wall that is along the south side of the house. And this is along the south side of the house, the front gate and the air conditioning condenser. And this is our backyard area. So we're going to run through this 4-inch mainline cleanout and attempt to get all the way out to the city sewer. We have ABS plastic at this point. It appears that there was a remodel done, more than likely, the way this is, or just a redrain. We have ABS plastic pipe here that appears to be in pretty good condition. The joints look to be okay as far as we can see right here. And then we transition. We're underneath the house. We're approximately 25 feet underneath the house. And we transition to cast iron piping. And then we come outside. It transitions to cast iron. At this point, a very short section of cast iron, and then transitions to clay, which is outside the house. Right here we transition to the clay. So we're outside the house at this point. We're going to just locate this real quick. I believe we're just on the side of the house. We're going to stop. We're going to locate this for a moment and put a marker. And the picture will become a little bit fuzzy while we are locating. Okay, we've marked this area right here at 2 foot 3 inches deep with a green flag just outside the house by the air conditioning condenser. And the sewer is coming out from underneath the house. There shouldn't be clay piping underneath the house. It should be cast iron or plastic. But maybe the year that the house was built, or maybe remodeled, they built over the clay pipe. Do have a little bit of an offset here, but there is no root intrusion, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now we're making the turn, and we're going to go maybe a couple joints, and then we'll locate again. That joint's got a little bit of a separation, but very tiny. Doesn't look terrible. No major breaks, no major offsets at this point. That one's got a little more of an offset. You can see the whole top edge of the pipe there. But again, we don't have any root intrusions. Okay, locate this area real quick. Find out exactly which way the sewer line is running. Okay, we've marked this area at 2 foot 3 inches deep, and it is running out toward the front of the property. Now we're going to run in more. So we've got some offset at that joint. No major root intrusions, no major breaks. But we do have an offset, which eventually will cause a problem in time, but it's lasted a long time now, and it may be a while. And a small offset at this joint as well. Very minor. That joint looks to be pretty good. That joint looks to be pretty good. That joint looks to be pretty flush. That joint has a minor offset, very minor. Nothing serious there. And so far, no roof intrusions. That joint's got a very minor offset as well. And this joint has a very minor offset as well. We're going to just stop and locate this for just a quick moment. And we're going to get some water running through the line to help us push out all the way so we can get into the city sewer. Okay, we've located this area, and we are approximately 10 feet from the sidewalk, and within the next 10 feet we should also hit the 6-inch, the 4 to 6 inch transition, which goes into the city lateral. Hopefully, maybe we can just push out. Joint looks to be pretty good. And now we're dropping down into the 6-inch transition right here. We're at the 4 to 6 inch transition by the front property line by the sidewalk. Let's see if we can get all the way through the 6-inch line and into the city sewer. That joint's got a little separation in it and a little bit of an offset as well. See where it's kind of catching paper a little bit. It's got about an inch to an inch and a half separation in it, which may cause problems in the future. They will keep separating because of earth movement. Eventually it'll have to be lined or replaced. That joint has quite a bit of separation as well. It has about an inch, good inch to an inch and a half. The joints are separated, holding a little bit of water. Again, eventually it'll have to be repaired. And looks like we may be dropping down into the city sewer, possibly right here. And we got some root intrusion right here. And it's a turn. It's not even the sewer yet. We do have some root intrusion at this point. And we've got quite a bit of an offset and a separation right here. The 6-inch line does need to be repaired or replaced. And now we come up on our turn and our drop into the city sewer. We're going to pull back to our transition, which is right here. That is the city sewer, and this is our transition to the city sewer. And that piece, we're going to go out and we're just going to mark this out real quick in the street. See where we're at. It appeared that we were dropping into the city sewer, but we're not. We're just into another turn. We've still got about another 15 feet, maybe 20 feet before we hit the city sewer. So we have some more separations in here and more offsets. So we're going to run some water because it's getting very difficult to try and push through here with as many turns as we've gone through. I've got to find out and make sure, see if it could be lined. If we could install a sewer liner in here, it's a whole lot less expensive than having to dig it up and replace it.
Right.
Burbank lines a lot of their sewers, but I don't know that they're letting contractors do lining anymore. I don't know if they're making us replace them. I just got to make a call, call Public Works after, and I'll find out. Now, I pull back here. See right here.
Oh yeah.
Got pretty good separation in between those, and you can see where it's shifted. You can see the face of the pipe all over there.
Yeah.
And you got some roots. You got some roots in that too.
Okay.
It's holding back water. See where the water's just sitting?
Yeah.
Yeah. shouldn't be sitting, should be draining out completely.
Right.
And several of the other joints as well. I don't want to pull back yet because then it's a bear to try to get this thing out.
Totally.
I'm about 110 feet now.
Oh, wow. All right, yeah. So a lot of them are going to have that little bit of a gap.
Not that much. These are worse than the 6-inch I'm in the street. Those are worse than what the 4-inch line is on the property.
Right.
You don't have any huge roots or anything else. I wouldn't do anything right now.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're going to get worse over time.
Yeah.
Okay, you buy the house just the way it is. Eventually, you go to sell in 5 years, 10 years, they're probably going to be worse.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to say, hey, you need to replace the sewer for us.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to pop for the cost.
Right.
And you're looking at probably about $4,000 just from the house to the sidewalk.
Got it. That's not even including all the way to the street.
Well, no, that out in the street I've got to find out. If we could put a liner, you're looking at about another $3,200. If we can't, we have to dig it up. You're looking at about $8-9 grand.
Oh wow! For the whole job.
No, that's just the street. Yeah, on top, so you could have a $12,000 job.
Right.
If it had to be dug up.
Right. What about this clay situation? Is that something that should be replaced soon, or?
You know, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not that bad under there. It's just, like I said, again, if you go to sell the house and you get somebody in here that knows, a lot of the inspection guys don't know what the codes are. But I've been a plumber for 40 years.
Yeah.
So I know. And underneath the house, you're not supposed to have it. So they come in and they go, you got clay under here. This all got to be replaced.
Yeah.
You got to put plastic in now. And then you could end up having to spring for the cost.
Right.
I can put that in my report and put down what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And you know, you can argue it out with them as far as.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna, because honestly, we'll probably be here for about 5 years, maybe a little bit more than resale. Obviously depending on the market, but
I mean, even if you get, let's say you get a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 credit, whatever you can get out of replacing part of this under the house and bringing it out right. And right now, it's not a necessity. You hang on to that.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even do it. See what the next guy says.
Right.
Next guy might want to come in here and demolish the house and put up one of the 2 stories or something. You never know.
Yeah. No. I mean, whatever I can kind of get on paper, whatever to kind of like help with that.
Absolutely. I'll document everything.
Yeah.
And I'll get you a quote.
Right.
As far as cost on fixing this or replacing whatever we need to replace.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay.
You want me to go run that water?
Yeah, please.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, if you could, so I can get through here.
I'll open up that window because that's where I'm at.
Okay, great. Hey, you can just leave it running, and I'll come and ask you to shut it off.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you, Mike.
And yeah, like I said, I'll just be right around the corner. You can literally hobble through that window and I'll hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Here we are at 111 feet, and we are at a fairly substantial separation right here. We have root intrusion, we got a separation and a pretty large offset, and we're going into a turn. Right now we are just in the street, about 2 feet from the curb, and as I said, we've got probably about 15 feet, possibly 20 feet. It all depends where the lateral ties in to the city sewer. So we're going to attempt to run all the way out into the sewer now. Make our turn. Water running makes it a little bit easier. That joint doesn't look too bad. That joint looks fairly tight. That joint doesn't look bad at all. That joint looks pretty tight. That joint's got a fairly large offset and a pretty good separation there, probably a good inch. We're making our turn, and now we're going into the city sewer, I believe, at this point, and you can see we've got a very large offset right at the city sewer saddle right here. This is the tie-in connection. Now we've got quite a bit of root intrusion there as well. You can see here that we are in the city sewer. We've got water running down in the city sewer. And this will shut off our water. Now we're going to pull back. Okay, we're just going to wait for a couple minutes and let the water subside. Go back, we can get a good view of what the line looks like. Right here we got some roots. We got roots at the top of the joint at the tie-in. Then we have a pretty large separation and offset at our first joint, which is our saddle tie-in. Line past that point. We can't line over that, so it would need to be replaced. Now we're pulling back toward the house, and we've got more root intrusion at the next joint, and we've got some offset and separation at that joint as well. The joint after that looks pretty good. We've got a few joints in here that look pretty good. Minor root intrusion in that joint, but the joint itself looks pretty flush. Doesn't look too bad. That joint looks to be in pretty good condition, pretty flush again. That joint's fairly flush, looks good. Now we have an offset in the next joint. That joint's got a pretty good offset to it. We're in a turn. Pulling back up. And we've got a good size offset here, as we had said, and a pretty good separation. And eventually that will grow larger and larger. It will become more and more offset and separated, and it can eventually just sever, and it will just shut off and plug up the sewer line. And as you can see, it's holding the water back right here because of the shifting in the pipe. That's not draining the way that it should. And we got an offset here as well, and minor separation there. And we're coming back up. This is our 4 to 6 inch transition by the sidewalk area. So from here out to the city sewer, it would need to be replaced. Or you could do spot repairs, but the cost of spot repairs would probably be more than what it would cost just to do the entire line. So you're having a pothole, several holes. You could dig at the sidewalk area and dig one hole at the city sewer tie-in and pull a new trenchless sewer line from here. And we're coming back in the 4-inch, and we've noted all the areas in the 4-inch on the way out. The biggest issue with the 4-inch piping that we have is that it's run up underneath the house, which should not have clay up underneath the house. You got a little offset here in the 4-inch, but no major root intrusions. Joint looking decent. Little minor offset again. I have a lot of small offsets. That joint looks pretty good. Got some offset right here in this joint. Holding a little bit of water there, but not terrible. No root intrusion at that point. You got some offset here. Got some offset here and some separation at this point that will continue to grow larger. That area may need to be repaired. The joint looks to be pretty good. Coming back up into a turn. Get a little bit of offset in that joint as well. That joint's got a very small offset, not bad at all. And that joint, very small offset again. A lot of them may have been the way that they were put together as well on some of these. That joint's minor offset. Now we're turning and coming back toward the house. We're back under the house, excuse me. We've already entered the house, the couple of clay sections. I believe it was 3 sections, about 10 to 15 feet of clay underneath the house. And then we're coming back through ABS plastic, back toward the cleanup. And that concludes our